What's
that?
Eric Metcalf.
Eric Metcalf is on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I know Eric's shoe game is still on point.
Gotta
isn't
be.
It? You have fresh shoes, don't you? Welcome to the show, Eric.
I do what I can do when I can do it.
No, so
But as Jay well knows, I do consulting with Nike Track and Field.
Yes, he
so that
does.
helps.
Okay, so listen.
That helps my shoes.
So Eric, who was an NCAA long jump champion, also an Olympic trials guy, Eric has followed my son through his Olympic trials and through his college career. And this is how nice a guy Eric is. When my son was graduating from college, I called Eric and I'm like, look, he'd like to get a deal. My son had he was a 4-time first-team All-American at Division I. And so he could jump. Eric goes, let me hook your son up with my Nike guy. Eric got my son his first Nike contract just by a phone call. Eric sends me an email later and goes, he knows your son, it's done.
Well, if you need somebody now, you need somebody to sponsor some shoes or something. You know.
Hey, you need somebody to cut grass. I do stuff around the house. I'm handy. I get stuff off the top shelf and everything. I can detail. I got a mixtape coming out.
Hey, I tell my kids all the time though, if I wasn't doing consulting with Nike, their shoe game would be weak. There was no way I was going to be paying $300 for some tennis shoes. That's just not going to happen.
Not happening.
It is absurd, but when you got a pipeline from Nike, you get the latest and the greatest. First of all, Eric, I want to start this conversation where all the Browns conversations these days start. I know we have the benefit of a little bit more information than we had when the Browns made the decision to go out and trade for Deshaun Watson. First, I want to get your thoughts on what you thought of the trade at the time, and knowing everything that we know now, would you still do that trade if you would have done it in the first place?
Well, what I thought at the time was it was great. I mean, since he just first said that he wanted out of Cleveland, I was telling everyone, we should just push all our chips in and try to go get Deshaun Watson if we're trying to get better. I mean, Baker did a lot of good things for Cleveland, but at the same time, we're trying to get better. And if you can get a top 5 quarterback in the league, you have to take your chance. And I like that they did that. And now moving forward with all the information, 2 grand juries that there was not enough information to indict him. So I feel good about it. So I think it's the right thing to do. We just have to wait and see what they decide.
Were you able to see the HBO special last night on Real Sports where they talked to 2 of the accusers in the case?
No, I heard about it, but I didn't get to see it yet.
Okay.
You know, it's once again, when we're talking about this, it's a sticky situation regardless of what side you're on, because we know the implications of this and what could happen. But at the same time, when we're talking about football, I like the fact that we went and got somebody who can take us to the next level.
Absolutely.
Eric, speaking of next level, we have some next level running backs. You know a little something about being a running back, obviously. We actually had your running mate Leroy Horde here earlier in the week. Or was that last week now?
Last week.
Last week. But anyway, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt is, to me, one of the all-time great. I know they haven't played together that long. I think they could be one of the all-time great running back duos. What say you?
I feel the same way. I mean, like you said, they haven't played together that long, and when they've been playing, most of the time one of them has been hurt, and so a lot of them, they've had to carry the load for most of the game. But I like what they bring to the team, each doing it differently. Nick is a power guy who has a lot of speed. Kareem can do everything, receive the ball, he can rush it and do all those kind of things. So I like what they bring. I'd like to see them in the backfield together more.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah.
Because just because Kareem can move around and you never know what the offense is going to do. And I think, like you say, when you have a Deshaun Watson, the playbook, it just expands. And so there's so many different things that you can do in inviting both these guys on the field and going out there and attacking the defense.
Eric, I always felt like you were ahead of your time. You was like 20 years too early. From what you can do, running the ball, catching the ball, just in the return game. So we do have a question from our chat, some of our loyal listeners. Shout out to them. Fry says, ask Eric, who is today's NFL version of himself?
Oh, good one.
Great question.
Well, I don't know if there's a real version. I know I like guys who do similar things, and I would say like Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cooks, Alvin Kamara's, those guys who rush the ball, receive the ball. They probably could return kicks and punts if they needed to, but they don't, just the way the game is played today. But it's guys who can do everything that I see that are players like me. And, I mean, and you can even throw like a Tyreek Hill in there because although his primary position is receiver, he could run the ball if he needed to, and he could also return kicks. And so those guys, that's who I like to see. I don't compare anyone to myself because we all do it differently. I just like the fact that guys are able to play multi-positions and go out there and be successful at it.
Eric, I mentioned you and Leroy obviously played together, 4 years, 5 years? I can't remember.
I can't either. I've been concussed.
What was it, 90? I think it was 5, right? I think it was not you. You left at the end of the 94 season, correct? Was you last year?
Yes, I was traded at the end of after 94. A lot of people always say you left. No, I did not leave. I was traded.
My bad. Traded to Atlanta. So you guys played together 5 years. When you split carries with another good back, are you supporting each other? Is it frustrating? You're like, oh, I should have gotten that carry. Is there any of that? How's that work?
I mean, the only thing that frustrates you is you're a guy. If you're a competitive guy, you want the ball all the time.
Sure.
But at the same time, we had a room where everybody cared about each other, whether we're playing or not. We're gonna be friends, and so we liked that everybody was successful. It's just a matter of when we get those opportunities. I mean, the way football was played then, I wasn't a guy who's going to go out there and carry it 25 times and run in between tackles and be able to sustain that for a long period of time. So you can leave that to Leroy. If you give me the ball 10 times and I can have long runs, and I feel good about it.
I like that.
Yeah, that is a great answer, Eric. When you look at the game today, obviously, it's in terms of the quarterback rules, you don't have any of the old Turkey Joe Jones hits on Terry Bradshaw. That is completely out of the game, and I think a lot of the physicality is out of the game. When you played it, it was still a rough and tumble game. Not that it isn't now, but it was way more so back when you played. Who is the one player that you most dreaded playing against on the other side?
Well, to be honest, I never, ever wanted to get hit, so I would say that would be everyone. I just didn't want to get hit, but I will tell you that Chuck Cecil got me good.
Yeah,
he got me good one time, and fortunately, he rung my bell, and we were on our sideline, so I was about to step back in the game, and Kevin Mack grabbed me like, I don't think you're ready for this. You better. Yeah, so I mean, but you had so many good players out there who could ring your bell because, like you said, football was different then. But at the same time, I don't think I would have been able to play football when my dad and those guys played because that was real football.
Yeah, you're right. Your dad's era in the 70s was even more physical.
And we got you perfect segue. We got another one from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show chat room. Lucas05102. You gotta get a better screen name, dog. Lucas says, how old was Eric before he was able to beat his dad in a race?
Ooh, good question.
Really and truly, I was high school.
Wow.
Your dad was still moving?
Yeah, he can move, but here's the thing about it. He was still moving, but my mother and father, they had me when they were in high school. So
he was still a young man.
Young.
Yeah. So he's still young. So while you're saying he's still moving, no, I was moving.
Well, if you were 14 and he had you in high school, he was probably 32.
I was rolling.
You still have wheels at 32.
Did you talk trash? Did you trash talk him when you beat him for the first time?
It wasn't even necessary. You
don't
want to shoot the old bull and send him out the back. Let him go, right?
So Eric,
gonna start training again.
Eric, on that note, I remember, and so does my son, and reminds me of it all the time. The day he first beat me in a race, and it was a huge deal for him. I'm wondering when your son was able to beat you in a race, because I know you have a son that's, I believe, is he still playing college football?
Yeah, so he's just transferring to Prairie View this year, so he'll start at Prairie View. He plays receiver. He's 6'4", over 200 pounds.
Wow.
And so if you and I told him and his friends like a month ago that I would beat them in a race now.
Right.
So I don't know if he can beat me until he proves it. But then again, I'm one of those guys that I'll just talk a lot of noise, never race, and say you can't beat me, and because he would never race. He can't say you beat me.
If it doesn't happen, it can't happen.
Whoa.
I love that.
Oh,
what would be your 40 time right now if we took you to a track? What are you running the 40 in right now?
If I'm healthy, I think I can go out there and run 4.7.
Oh,
wow.
I got him beat.
That is insane.
I got him beat.
54.
I know. But still, is he a legend though? Like, I'm gonna say that you beat a legend, like.
Yeah.
The word legend doesn't equate to speed.
True. That's true.
and you don't get faster as you get older.
Okay, so we just did an absurd hypothetical with Ohio State football coach Ryan Day. I've got one for you. I see the long jump picture on the screen behind you that's covered Track and Field magazine. It says a new long jump force, and Eric was one of the best in the country. Right now, I take you and the great Carl Lewis, and I'm taking you to a strip. I'll even make it down at Texas because I know you love that strip and you're familiar with it. Who wins that long jump competition right now?
Carl Lewis.
He said, that's Carl Lewis.
Carl ain't running no 4.7 right now.
But he's a legend. See, we're gonna throw that word back out there. He's a legend, and and I am scared to death to jump.
I know that feeling.
It's so rough on your body, and I just don't want to get hurt. I had no major injuries playing football. Man. I don't want to go out there doing something stupid and hurt myself. So Carl wins. I'm just going to give it to him. He takes it. He wins.
I know that. My son was trying to get me to train for the Masters competition because I was jumping with him up to a couple of years ago, and he said, "Dad, I'm telling you, I'm looking at the distances. I think you could win this thing." And so I took a couple jumps, and on my second landing, when I hit, I said, it didn't used to feel like this. It felt like I was dropped off a 4-story building and I couldn't move when I hit the sand.
I'm scared.
It has you thinking the sand got harder, right? You don't remember. It was softer when you were young. But
that's what I said. I said they're using different sand now. It was like powder when I was jumping.
It cannot be that bad.
People is upset at us right now.
It is that bad
right now.
People is upset at us right now because we haven't mentioned, if you ain't been in Cleveland, the most memorable Eric Metcalf moment, obviously, is taking 2 kicks to the crib on the Steelers. I remember being at the house, losing my mind. And by the way, when you look at it, I believe you were kind of dinged up. It didn't look, you either had a hamstring or quad or something. You didn't know if you was going to play. What is your memory about taking them 2 kicks back to the house? Because that changed the game for everybody in Cleveland.
Well, like you said, first, I didn't think I was going to be able to play that week because I had a knee sprain from the week before against Cincinnati, and somebody fell on me. And so most of the week I didn't practice, but Belichick had a rule: if you don't practice on Fridays, then you can't play in the game. And so I finally get out there Friday, which I didn't really do much, but I went through the motions and got out there and walked through Saturday. Come Sunday, I'm like, I'm ready to go. And then he didn't, and I was all taped up and everything. They didn't think I'd be ready, so I said, I'm ready to go. I can make this work. And it's just one of those days. My dad always told me is sometimes that when you get injured, it slows you down. So you see things a lot better. And so that particular day, it seemed like everything was in slow motion to me, even though I felt like I was moving fast. It just seemed like everything was slow motion. They kicked the first one, and obviously there are a lot of great blocks, and we scored a touchdown. And right after that, I always remember Stephon Moore coming to me on the bench and said, "We're going to get another one."
Wow.
And I was like, okay. in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure we are.
Yeah, right.
And then, unfortunately, that moment came. It was a great game for whoever was watching that game, regardless of if we won or lost. Fortunately, we won, but it was a good game. It was a good, tough fought game, and we stopped them. They punted the ball. We got another return because everybody was blocking well again. Made a couple people miss, and that was it. And so you say that's everyone's favorite moment, but it's really not my favorite moment as a Cleveland Brown. But it's like 1B now because I know that all the Cleveland fans love it.
Well, what is your favorite moment?
Yeah. My favorite moment is a game that really doesn't matter. We played in Oakland and I scored the last second touchdown.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Okay.
And that's because when you're a kid, you're out there, you're practicing shooting a jump shot with no time on the clock. You're talking about hitting a walk-off home run, and then at that time I got to score a touchdown with 2 seconds on the clock, and so that's like something that everybody wants to do when they're a kid, and I got the opportunity to do it in the NFL.
And it happens almost never.
Yeah,
I mean, it happens
rare.
so infrequently.
Eric, let me give you a couple of quickies. I'm going to give you a quick question, and you give me the best teammate that you played with in Cleveland that would fit the answer. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. You're in an alley. There's two guys about to jump you. You get to pick one teammate to have your back in that fight. Who is it? Cleveland teammate.
Kevin Mack.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one.
No offensive lineman. No, you going Kevin Mack.
Kevin Mack.
You're going to go like Michael Dean Perry.
All right.
Hey, Kevin Mack used to stand on the sidelines while we were on defense, while the defense was on the field with his helmet strapped up.
Ready to go.
And he looked like a gladiator too.
All right. You're at the comedy club. You have to make the entire audience laugh, and if you do it, you get $1 million. Who is your partner for the comedy show?
Eric Turner.
Eric Turner was funny. Was he making guys laugh in the locker room consistently?
Eric Turner, because he was just silly. Yes, Eric Turner.
All right, you're in a best dressed contest. Best dressed contest. Who's your partner for that one?
Whoa. I'm gonna go with Michael Dean Perry.
Michael
Dean. There it is. Michael Dean. He was clean like that.
He's still clean.
I thought you said Webster Slaughter. I think Webster was a good dresser, wasn't he?
Michael Dean still is clean every day. There's
no
way he would be sitting there like dressed like you guys are right now.
Wait, what are you saying about this?
Hold on, you ain't hold on now.
I'm not saying anything about you. I'm saying the fact that that's how he dresses. Yes.
How you go.
All right, final thing. You got to take on G and me in a pizza eating contest. That's a tough task. Who you picking to teammate with you on that one?
Just because I think it'd be funny, Leroy.
We might be able to arrange that. we might be able to do that.
Hey, Leroy is just, when you eat a meal with him, it takes an hour because you're laughing so hard. First of all, he dominates the conversation, which is fun to watch. But everybody at the table is laughing from start to finish. It takes forever to finish.
Yeah, Leroy for sure. Leroy, he'd be funny. That's why I said just because it'd be funny, Leroy, 100%.
How do you feel all these years later, about Bill Belichick? First thing that comes to your mind when you think of Bill.
I think he's a great coach, and I think that he was a good coach, and I knew he would be a good coach when he first got to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. However, he'd just come from the Giants, and he was trying to do it like Parcells' way. We had stubborn veterans who wanted to do it our way because we had won games in previous years. Yeah. And so it's just a matter of us butting heads and him not getting his system, him not trusting a lot of the players that he had. And so if we would have kept our team together, we probably would have won some Super Bowls or had an opportunity to go there. But because of the way he wanted his system, we were trying to do it our way. He felt it was best to get people away. And so it worked out for him once he got to New England, but I think it could have been a lot better if we would have all got together in Cleveland.
It's weird because we talked last week on the show about this. I thought that Belichick, it was clear that he was going to be a great coach, and I think finally he did decide to do it his way instead of Parcells' way. But Cleveland sort of relived that movie when Eric Mangini came here. I thought Eric was trying to be too much like Bill Belichick, and the players just weren't about that. It wasn't. I don't think it was genuine to who Eric was, and that didn't work either. And I think he was ultimately a much better coach than anybody ever got to see. Do you agree with that?
And unfortunately, it happens because they come. A lot of these times they come from coaches who have been successful and won a lot of games, and so that's what they've learned. They learned how these coaches have run their system, their organization, and they've won. And so when they've been in that for so long, it's like, this is how I'm going to do it, instead of being, like you said, true to themselves. Yeah. These new coaches who are getting new jobs, they do it differently because they're playing football different. They're not playing hard-nosed football with these guys all the time. And so it's easier to go play for these new coaches in different teams.
They all coach like it's Madden. Everybody's going for everything on fourth down.
Right.
I mean, I love it as a fan, as long as it's not my team getting stopped on 4th and 1. I still think that he did it away for 75 years for a reason, and now everybody's going for it on 4th down. We killed the Chargers last year.
I did
in a couple instances.
I didn't.
No. I'm saying the decision to go for it killed the Chargers in a couple of huge spots. There were times that we were going for it, the Browns, and I'm like. They're coaching like this is Madden, and you can turn it on.
The statistics say
start
go
a new
for
game.
it.
Take the points.
Take the points. Take the points.